In today's episode, we're going to remove this torn and sagging original headliner that's in my car. We're going to go ahead and take that thing out and then recover it. Here's what the inside of my car is looking like right now. And you can see I already took the carpet out, went ahead and changed the color on that. Check out that episode if you haven't seen it. So we're going to be putting that back in, but first I want to go ahead and take out this headliner as well. This is the original headliner from the car, and so as you can see, it is definitely torn in a lot of places. It's starting to sag. The color is okay, it's fine, but it definitely needs to be refreshed, especially since the carpet is being refreshed. Man, I really hope the office doesn't call me back in from remote work starting tomorrow. So we're going to have a really cool episode where I'm going to go ahead and clean all of this up. We're going to go ahead and put that carpet back on in here, put all the kick panels back in, and hopefully install new headliner as well. That'll be coming soon. This thing is my daily driver, and so this is definitely a unique position for this car to be in. Normally I really don't touch this thing too much just because I want to be able to just drive the thing whenever I need to, and I still can right now. All I gotta do is throw the seat in, but still it's unusual for it to be in a state like this. You gotta love vice grips, man. I'm really not looking to put a ton of money into this project, redoing this whole interior. For example, if you check out my last video, I reused my OEM carpet instead of buying like a brand new already cut one. But then you could just change the color on the thing, and it only cost me 20 bucks to do so. This headliner is gonna be like 50 bucks. As far as putting money into cars, really this is where I'm gonna be putting my money. We got some stuff coming for this guy. So what I wanted to show with this project is that you really can get into making your interior look a heck of a lot nicer and not really have to spend a bunch of money. You see this thing right here, man, this is hot garbo. I'm hopefully gonna be just trying to recover this myself. We'll see how that's gonna go, but yeah. Pretty simple job, just, removing this stuff. The funny thing about this guy right here is it was actually meant to be on the passenger side, if you'll notice. I actually robbed that one and put it over here. I had just robbed that one over because usually it's just me in the car. I just drive this thing to work and back, that's it. And good Lord, it is hot. It's like 95 degrees out here in the humidity. Now with these seatbelt pieces here, kind of just removing this clip to expose this bolt, and you can see I already have these panels moved aside. They've already been moved aside from when I did the carpet stuff. So really what I want to do with this thing is kind of just the same and just move this plastic piece up out of the way, because really I don't need to take the whole thing off. I just need to kind of move it out. Sweat in my eye. Looking up here, that guy just pops off because that's been kind of like that for a minute. Plug that wire, can't do that with one hand. YouTube magic. And just for my own sake, I'm just putting that screw back up in there so I don't lose it. Bag and tag the other stuff. This thing kind of just pulls down from these clips here. I tell you, there's enough dust in here. I don't know that there's like a real rhyme or reason to what I'm doing here. I'm kind of just trying to follow where this thing is pulling down from, and it kind of just led me to back here. And yeah, just trying to work it out just a little bit, Here we go. That did it. So really one of the more stupid parts of this whole thing is this kind of pillar thing right here. And what I'm going to do is just kind of move this out of the way like you see it. I'm going to try to kind of fold the headliner up over the top of that, because up behind here there's a whole bunch of screws lining where this thing is connected to the frame of the car. So I don't want to mess with all that, and it's going to be the same on this side. Looks like the last thing here are these two little clips that are in the back. I've already got that one. I just used my flathead and kind of just pulled the board down just a little bit. You can kind of see up in there, and just doing the same on that side. This thing's ready to come down. See how it's sagging there in the front? We're definitely ready. And there it is. I think I saw 22 years of dust fall from that thing when I was pulling it out. So it looks like I did rip the cardboard a bit in this one spot here as it was coming out. Once I go ahead and put the new cloth on this thing, you know, it should just wrap around it just fine and you won't see anything, but we'll find out, I guess. But yeah, this thing just kind of peels right on up, and then we got to get this foam off out of here. All right, so we got the board out, and what you see here is what I've started to do. I'm just using this grill brush that I have, that I was using actually to scrape up the interior of the EG, all the sound deadening. That's gonna work great here. We wanna go ahead and scrape up all this old foam on this board because the new material I have is actually foam backed. We need something for it to be able to stick to, and I think it's gonna stick better to the original board, not the old disgusting foam. And here's the new material I have. See, the look is gonna be very, very similar with this light gray, but you see it's foam backed. So that's why I need to go ahead and get rid of all this. And I've got my shop back here because as I start scraping it up, you see it's gonna make a real good mess. We'll just clean it up as we go. Alright, so progress update, and you see I've got probably close to half of this thing done. This is definitely a long process. This wire brush that I'm using, like, it works, but it's just, you just gotta have patience, man. You just gotta keep on scraping away at this thing, trying to just clean up the mess so it just doesn't blow all over the yard here. But it's definitely coming along, but bring your patience with you. So that took a second, but yeah, well worth it. I think it's probably like paint, you know, like it's all in the prep. And if you don't go ahead and take your time and get all the foam off of this thing, well, you're gonna have lumps and bumps in the fabric. I think anyway. This is the first time I've done this, but I'm thinking you wanna get as much of this foam off as possible. And you see here, I think I did that. This brush here worked really well. I did put a huge cut into this right here. That was when I was taking the thing out. And I also got this over here, and you know, just from using this brush, I put some marks in it too. But since we know all this is gonna be covered anyway, I'm just taking some of this tape here, and we're just gonna connect these two pieces together. It's totally flush with the board, so it's gonna be fine. Since this new material here is foam backed, it's thicker like that, it's not gonna show any little imperfections, you know, and any little gouges that I may have made. That fabric right there cost me 40 bucks, and it's 2 yards by 60 inches wide, and it's foam backed. So I know you could probably get something much cheaper if you just go to like Walmart or like a, you know, cheap little fabric store. But if it's not foam backed, I don't know how that's gonna work out on a board like this. It will show all the imperfections, I'm thinking. So foam backed is the way to go in my opinion. So whew, it was super hot, man. Doing all that is like a hot day, but it's totally changed. You see the rain there on the horizon, and now it's actually really, really nice outside. So this should be good. But just in case, I got everything packed up in the car in case it starts to rain. So here's the stuff that I got that I'm going to go ahead and spray the carpet onto the board with. This Loctite spray is supposed to be really, really good. Heavy duty, it says. But yeah, I was looking on it and I was like, oh man, adhesive materials should be between 65 and 95 degrees. And when I saw the temperature of the car ride home, I was like, oh man, we are pushing it. But so hey, I'm using Loctite product, right? I can pretty much go ahead and wrap my car just like the Loctite GTR, right? No problem. It's exactly the same. So what do you guys think of the color choice? I definitely wanted to go with that light gray, you know, something that was totally similar to what the OEM stuff was. I know I changed the carpet to that black. I still wanted to keep some sort of semblance of that OEM, and to me, having a lighter color on top of the car is gonna make it still feel nice, open, and airy. if you put like a black headliner, which I'm sure would be suggested a lot, a black headliner with a black carpet, to me that's going to close off the interior more. It's going to make it feel even smaller than the car already feels, you know. And I really like having a lighter color on the headliner. So with this Loctite stuff, I would really recommend laying it down super thick, as you see I'm doing here. Like, I put down a lot of coats, man. But I really didn't want to run into the problem where maybe I didn't put enough down and then the headliner starts to sag only in certain places. That would be a super bummer, because then, well, the only way to correct that is you have to take it back out and do the whole thing again. You have to rip the fabric back up and do it again. Like, this stuff is really, really sticky, man. And when you put it down and you know, adhere something together, it's there. It ain't going nowhere. So try to do it right the first time, right? This stuff was about 40 bucks, but it fit perfectly, as you see here. It's 2 yards by 60 inches. That fit the EK headliner board perfectly, with a little bit to spare, so I could try to recover some folding visor mirrors. But so if you're looking to do this job yourself, I would definitely recommend going ahead and getting the 2 yards. I guess it depends on, you know, what the width is of these things, but from the company that I got from, it's 2 yards by 60 inches. Now the rain showed up. It's tried to ruin my party, but I got this thing in quick. Got a couple drops on it, but it's looking really good. And I do see some break here. So I'll see how it is up in the car, but you see like this hole right here, I'm kind of just putting the scissors down through it. I'm not really opening it up very big. We'll see if you know, I'm able to push the little buttons through there. So yeah, that soaked me. Thankfully I had every other interior part in the EK already, and this guy, I just picked it up and brought it in the garage real quick. I want to do this outside because I'm spraying this stuff and it smells really nasty, and I obviously don't want to overspray over everything into my garage. So what I tried to do here is just trim the fabric to where it's relatively close to the edges, but I wanted it enough to where, you know, it's going to overlap the board completely. You don't want to have too little going just to the edge, and then maybe, you know, it's going to be exposed inside of the cab when you put the headliner back in. Definitely want to make sure you have clean hands when you're doing all this. You want it to be wrapped around the edge of the board enough to where the trim panels of the car then completely cover it up. And so what I did was just kind of cut little relief cuts into the like corners of this thing, so that when you're kind of bending the fabric around it, it wants to just go down nice and smooth. You're not kind of fighting it, you know. You don't want the fabric to be pulling anywhere to where it's eventually gonna pull off of the board. You want it to lay down as easily as possible, and that's what I tried to do here. Check this out, you guys. This is looking good. Looking really, really solid. Nice and clean. You see the spots there? That's from where I already went ahead and made the holes. These three right here, you know, is the front. That's where the mirror is gonna go. This guy here is for a folding visor. This right here is where the hand grip goes. I still have to put the one in the middle, but you know, I just wanted to get that nice clean look for right now. And you'll see here, I do have this little bit of a crease. From what I understand, that's gonna come out. Everything just kind of needs to settle. From everything that I've read and other videos that I've seen, that crease is going to come out. Everything just kind of needs to settle first. So I'm going to let this thing sit like this for at least a day. So we still got all this mess going on. If you haven't seen my other episode where I went ahead and took out the carpet and then recolored it, check that out too. Because what's going to be coming up next is I'm going to put all of this back together. And I'm going to do it the reverse way of how I took it out, meaning that the headliner is going to go back in first. We'll go ahead and take the panels, and then we'll put all of them back into place, especially these light gray ones here, you know, that will hold the headliner up. We'll go ahead and button everything up with the headliner. Then we'll do the carpet, put the seats back in, get it all freshened up again. It's going to be a really cool episode, so I hope you all stay tuned for that. And that is headliner done. And I wouldn't say there was anything really like too difficult about that process. Maybe one of the biggest things was actually just getting it out in the first place. And it is definitely a bunch of steps just to get the thing out. But once it's out, really recovering it was pretty easy. You know, just spray the stuff down, lightly lay down the material, kind of like if you're putting on a vinyl sticker or something on your car. You know, you just go really slow, little by little, so you don't develop any bubbles, and you're making sure that every part of that fabric is sticking to the glue. Please check out our Instagram. It's refine_movement. We have a lot of cool stuff up on there, so we'd definitely like to have you over there as well. So thank you all so much for watching. Be checking out that next episode. It's coming up next week.